Good morning, everyone. Are we good to go, Jeff? Do I get a thumbs up? Chuck Trudeau, come on, I'm there. Yes, sir. Yay, here we go. So good morning, everyone. Good Friday morning. It's Friday, and if you're here in the desert, it's another beautiful day. So it's going to get warm. It's starting to get warm. We're in the hundreds now, so it feels a little bit toastier outside. So today we're going to talk about Chapter 4, the Science of Mind textbook. This has been a long-standing tradition that Dr. Ernest Holmes and all the metaphysicians that are part of the Science of Mind, they've always looked at the first 4 chapters of the Science of Mind as setting up the foundation and the structure for our teaching. So today we're going to cover the 4th chapter, which is how to use it, which we've been using it all along, but what we'll do is we'll log in. I need you to leave here and then log in and watch the video itself of that class that was taught in January. It's about a half hour. And then right after that, we'll come back and have our question and answer. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to you and go back to the class, click to the other box, watch the class, and we'll see you in just a few minutes. Have a great class. Take notes, ask questions, write them down. Hey, so it's 10:30 and we're back live. I hope you enjoyed that talk. It is certainly, I tell you what, I just listened to it again and I haven't heard it since I did it in January. I'm not one to listen to my own talks, but it's really funny that I hear things that, that was just a few months ago and how telling some of those things were and how they apply now more than ever. Uh, it's fascinating. In fact, I've got a couple questions. I'll come to those in a minute. The first one I wanted to bring up is, you know, the fact that sometimes the universe puts us into a full stop. I mentioned that in the talk. And I feel like we are at a full stop right now. Sometimes I have to tell my mind to be at a full stop, but I think the universe created a full stop opportunity for us in this experience that we're having right now. One of the things that someone mentioned it, I'm not sure if it was on here or a blog or something, that, you know, forest fires clear out things that need to be replanted and reseeded naturally through nature. And there's people are talking about, is this that type of like forest fire that cleans out a lot and allows a new awakening, a new experience to be planted? And I really think that that's happening in so many ways, in every way, in relationships, in health, in finances, in creativity, all of them, and our spiritual awareness. I think we came to a full stop and it brought people to an abrupt stop on a life that was spooling up so quickly and so fast that now we have this opportunity to look at things a little bit differently. We have this experience and time to reevaluate and reprioritize and continue to look at how we're using the spiritual laws and how we've used them in the past and look at how we can use them in the future. I like the fact that that whole prove it, just prove it. In scripture, prove me now that if you don't do this, I won't do that. Prove it to me. Prove me. I can throw down the gauntlet of proof. And when I throw down the gauntlet of proof and I say, okay, prove to me now, and then I step in my own belief, how it works is it provides for me those demonstrations. Now, like I said, I wish it was more like Amazon. I wish it would be overnight, but certainly this experience is instead of Amazon, it feels like the slow boat covering the ocean. It's going glacial speed, but we are going to get there because we are. The question came up. It says this talk is excellent. Well, thank you. I realized how much I don't trust. After decades of unanswered desires, how do I keep myself positive? All right, here we go. After decades of distrust, here's what you have. Actually, I'll give you 2 seconds. I'll find it in the book. Page 52, Dr. Holmes says this: hence, it follows that if we believe that it will not work, it really works by appearing to not work. When we believe that it cannot and will not, then, according to the principle, it does not. But when it does not, it still does, only it does according to our belief that it will not. This is our own punishment through the law of cause and effect. We do not enter in because of our doubts and fears. It is not a punishment imposed upon us by the Spirit of God, but an automatic result of failing constructively to use the law of God. All right, so if you say you've had decades where you didn't trust, then the effect will be continued distrust because you aren't manifesting. How do you keep positive? First of all, you have to eliminate the idea that there is a force against you working to not satisfy this result. You have to accept the premise that the universe is for you. Talk about a conspiracy theory. The universe is conspiring for your good. And your good is whatever you say it is. The universe does not define our good. It waits for us to define it. So we call it good. And how do we call it good? Our thoughts that we obsess on, not the ones we put on a pretty little vision board. That's one thing we're going to, they're teaching that next week is vision boarding. That's nice and all good. But if I create this beautiful vision board, but in my mind, I keep distrusting the universe, then it doesn't matter what's on that board. It matters not, because it won't be delivered to me because I'm not trusting. I have to have faith and confidence. and stand in my own truth and acknowledge that this is the presence that is going to, it's conspiring as we speak, creating scenarios in which my good will unfold before me. I have to do my part. I have to keep my eyes open, my ears open. I have to be aware of my surroundings and the things that are being put in front of me that maybe, I don't want to call them clues, but they're subtle guideposts on the way. Many times I've missed those things and people have pointed them out to me. I'll give you, again, I don't know if I did this on the class already, but I'll give you a perfect demonstration. I met with this person who wanted a new job. And so we sat down and we did our prayer work around the new job. And this falls under the category of not recognizing your good. Okay. So we go through this process and we pray about it, and she has created a vision board around it and just really gung-ho into it. And she comes back in a couple weeks later. She's like, guess what? And I'm like, what? She goes, I got a job. And I'm like, oh my God. She said, I got this great offer and I'm so excited. It met everything that we had prayed about. It was like on my vision board and it's what we prayed about. And I'm just so excited. I said, well, when do you start? She said, I'm not doing it. I'm like, what do you mean you're not doing it? What happened? She said, I didn't take it. I'm like, why not? She said, because it wasn't with the company that I wanted it to be with. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. The universe demonstrates for you something spectacular and you turn it down because of a logo, because of a corporate logo. I'm not quite sure that that's following principle. The universe presents us with these opportunities. And when we walk away from them, we send a message to the universe that that's really not what I want. You know, all the qualities that you put forward, it's really not what you want. So one has to pay attention to the things that are being presented to them, because the universe is constantly proving itself. It is, it's constantly proving itself. Cut your hand one day and you'll see the universe prove itself. It will begin to clot, you know? The universe is constantly proving itself in nature and all around us. The facts are there. I have to accept them as my truth. That's how that's going to keep yourself positive, is when you look around and see that things have changed for you and you were part of that and you lean into it. And also what they call borrow belief. You know what? You may not believe it, but borrow my belief and run on it for a little while. Experiment. Mary Morrissey, when she teaches Prosperity Plus, she talks about the process of abundance and tithing and things as an experiment. Try it for an experiment. Commit to 10 weeks of doing one thing. And at the end of 10 weeks, you can reevaluate, but commit to it, jump into it, and fully explore it the whole time. Be in the presence of it. And when one does that, when one immerses themselves in that idea, there is a definite time when you transition into, I'm in this, I'm in it, I'm believing it, I'm trusting it. And if you can't do it, then borrow mine, because I've demonstrated it. I can show you how I can demonstrate, or show you how I've demonstrated this. So borrow mine, because I know this is working for you. How do I keep positive? Another one is continue to log in. You know what? Repetition is the mother of the student. And the more you hear people talk, and you know, we have every day at 10 a.m. every day at 10 o'clock in the morning, we have something going on. And then when we begin to open up the center again, when that starts, there will be classes and there will be Sunday services and there will be just all sorts of things happening. You have to avail yourself to those. And is it a sacrifice? Yes, but the sacrifice is the investment for demonstrating your good, because it's a discipline. It's just like a discipline. I mean, you can't work out at the gym once and think you got it. You keep going back and you keep strengthening your muscles. Well, you're strengthening your mental muscle when you're doing this. That's how that works. So any more questions, Jeff, or I'll keep rolling? Nope, we're good? All right, we're good. I'm gonna keep going. So the what if and why not? Right now, in fact, I'm not sure if you saw this week, but hopefully you went and you were able to see the visioning or participate in the visioning course that was done on Wednesday. If you didn't, it's not a problem. go to Center for Spiritual Living YouTube, and the Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert YouTube channel, subscribe to that, but then go back into our library there and watch the Wednesday visioning. The reason I say that is because right now, this is the best opportunity for us to envision our future. Now, one of the caveats that I always use is when you're visioning, and I said it in my talk, you don't use your present set of circumstances as your limitation to get to where you want to go. You have in your mind where you want to go without any regard or any attachment to what is happening in the now. Because what's happening in the now is a sum total and the result of the things you've believed up to this point. So they're in manifested form. But when you change what it looks like, and you change your desire, and you change your commitment to holding on to that desire, when you do that, then you've opened up the idea and the opportunity for the universe to present yourself, to be presented. It will present to you these things. So now is the best opportunity to not look at the current condition, but see ourselves in a much bigger and much more expressive picture. That's going to change the end result. So that's part of it. Okay. Oh, Russ and D. Hey, Russ and D, longtime members from, they were there when it was called the Religious Science Church of the Desert. They've been there for decades. They said for 50 years, what if worked for us? Now what is works for us. Okay. For 50 years, what if worked? Now what is working for them. That's great. What a great way to accept. For 50 years, you played the what if game, and now what is making you happy. There's a contentment in that. Yes. I mean, I think we all go through phases and functions of being human. And in every phase and function, there's a desire for something bigger and greater and busier, or how do I want to say this? Anyway, every phase. I remember my 20s, what my emphasis was on my 20s, and then it was on my 30s, and at 40s, and 50s, and 60s. And I think when we become more and more sterling, when we become more and more mature or older, we realize we don't need to play the what if game, because we're actually swimming and living in our manifestation of good. And there is no, and you're fine with it. And there are periods of life that we will be fine with what is happening in our experience. There will be periods of time in which we are very content, and don't ever allow yourself to feel like you need to be pushed out of those contentment zones. They will automatically, Dr. Tom used to say this is why it bothers me. You know, in the word shell is the word hell, because eventually the shell that you think is making you happy, you'll now become prisoner to it, and you will have to become something bigger. So just understand that you can't be in denial that what is will always be. It's what is right now, and I'm enjoying it right now, and I'm being grateful for it right now. But I also know that as it expands, as I expand, it will expand. So just something to think about. All right, let's see. What if, why not, full stop, prove me now. Actually, prove it. No new question. What is this? No new questions. Are you people, you must be experts. Well, I'm going to keep rolling, if you don't mind. All right, so rolling onto this. God does not punish the mathematician who fails to obtain the right answer to his problem. The thought of the unsolved problem does punish him until he applies the right principle and thus secures the desired result. Let me keep going. Thus, sin and punishment, righteousness and salvation are logical reactions of the universe to the life of the individual. Wow, here we go. Unpack that. God does not punish the mathematician who fails to obtain the right answer. You are not being punished. You are not being punished by not experiencing your demonstration. The universe does not withhold that from us. The universe does not withhold. It may feel like it. And certainly, you know, like I said, I wish it was more like Amazon Prime and would deliver it on my demand. But the next thing, the thought of the unresolved problem does punish me. My own frustration, my own feelings of inadequacy, or feelings like I'm missing out. That does punish me. But it's not God punishing me. It's my own punishment. So in order to do that, once I start applying the proper principles, things begin to change. When I apply spiritual principle, and a word that eludes me more than any other word has ever eluded me in the 50, I'll be 57 next month, in the 57 years that I have been on this planet, there is one thing that has eluded me. And I work so hard on this one thing all the time. And that is patience. I've never had it. I've tried, and I get better at times, but that is the patience to let the universe unfold in its logical and sequential order. I want it, and I want it in a hurry. I'll share something with you. No one has seen this yet except Jeff. I shared it with him. Talk about wanting to be in a hurry. I was born in 1963. And in 1963, communication was a little bit different. We didn't have cell phones and things like that, but the phone was very popular because that was really new. So here we go. That is a picture of me as a little baby with a phone. My mother told me I came out with, I didn't have an umbilical cord. I came out with a phone and a phone cord because I wanted to hurry up and get busy and become an adult and get grown up so that I could communicate and be like, that. There it is right there. There it is right there. That is proof that I've always been in a hurry. Hello, let's go. Come on, make it happen. So I'm working on it. And thank you. I got a compliment. You have gotten a lot better with patience and technology. I still do, but I still at times I want to throw my laptop in the pool. And I know that. Sometimes on my phone, I'm like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. And I just want to toss it because I can't get it to do all I want it to do. Give it to my daughter. She can go, and it's done in 30 seconds. But patience, that's what punishes most people, is the fact that we are not patient. And another punishment that we impose upon ourselves is that we expect it to unfold in a certain way, and you are looking for those specific signs outside to show you that you're on the right path. Because you've been told by other people that, follow the signs, follow the signs. And so you pray for signs, but that you don't pray for signs, you pray for a demonstration. Don't pray to see the signs, pray for a demonstration. Pray for the demonstration, and the signs that are not important. You just keep walking in faith and trust. The signs, I'll tell you this, don't pray for the signs, just be aware of them, because there are things that are happening. And there are times when I talked about sometimes following a bad idea and implementing a bad idea has made it possible to be introduced into a new idea through that bad idea. So sometimes I follow a sign that really isn't a sign, but I call it a sign because I'm so convinced that it has to be a sign in order to move me forward. So I'm going to call that one my sign, even though I feel a little bit awkward about it, but I'm going to go for it because I don't see anything else in my purview. Yeah. That doesn't work so well. I end up having to go back and say, I need to change my sign. I need to pretend that I never saw that sign and create another new pathway for me to get there. Because many times when I follow those signs that I think appear to show me a way, but I force them to be there because I basically manipulated them into my being. And I'm so proud of my manipulative behavior that it got me to that sign, when really it wasn't a natural occurrence. It wasn't something that would have happened without me pushing. It would have been a different pathway, and maybe perhaps an easier pathway, less resistance, less feeling like I'm going upstream. So I hope this is making sense. We'll do one last thing, and then we'll keep going, or then we're going to call it a day because it is already almost 11 o'clock. While it is true that wrong conditions exist, they could not remain unless there were someone to experience them. Really? Really? I hate that sentence. I should say I hate it. I've never liked that sentence, because that means I've been a volunteer to experience pain. I would say this: I think times we get ourselves into painful situations. Okay, there's hurt, there's grief, there's all sorts of things, um, scarcity, lack, health conditions. We find ourselves in these situations. But I think the difference is if I choose to stay there, then I have chosen to be the placeholder for the negativity, for the wrong thing. So, you know, unless there was someone there to experience it. Now, things will happen, take corrective action, keep moving. But once you become stagnant and stationary and accept something as your life, this is my life, this is what it's going to look like, then you have to be happy because now you've just accepted whatever that condition is. So struggle and strife would not be there if people weren't open to the idea of participating in it. Now, there are things that do happen. There are things that do happen that you don't ever feel shame because something bad happened to you. People in metaphysics do that all the time, and it's wrong. Don't do that. What we do is we look at those situations and go, and now what? And now what? This happened. Okay. I did a whole talk on so what, now what? So what? It happened. So what? Now what? And people thought it was very callous. You got a divorce? Oh, your relationship broke up. So what? Well, what do you mean? That's disrespect. Now what? You can occupy and be a placeholder for that, excuse me, that negativity, for that condition, and you can hold on to it for years. And I have seen people hang on to their negative experiences that were things that should have let themselves, they should have released years ago, but they've hung on to it to the detriment that they were never able to evolve to something greater because of their insistence on hanging on to it, letting it define them, never allowing themselves to be redefined. This time that we are in, we can either hang on to it and call it the most miserable experience of our entire life to be going through something like this, or we can go, this is an experience I'm going to release and let go. And as we move through this, I'm going to actually do a daily process of releasing any angst around it. And and I have to be honest, and I'm really honest with everything I do. Yesterday I was sort of mourning. I went into another day of mourning, and I was mourning the loss of this season in the desert. I was mourning the loss of my opportunity to work with Reverend Charles in face to face, and to be at the center and create this whole thing for us to move forward with, and to continue being creative around that. And I mourned the loss of that opportunity to have done that, face to face and person to person, and our classes and just all of that stuff. I was just mourning the loss of it. Now I woke up this morning and I had a whole different take on it. I mean, I was like, okay, today's a new day. Yes, and let's be grateful for the things that we have been able to work on, the things that we've been able to expand, and how we've been able to come into your homes every morning at 10 o'clock, or the YouTube library that is now built up with our, all sorts of things. And get to come to YouTube through our website channel. That's the best way to go, because that way we can continue that. But we go through it. It's our humanity. Do I want to be a placeholder for that? Do I want to be the thing that occupies the space for that emotion? I did for a little hour, an hour or day. Now I don't want to. All right, so here we go. How do I ignore doubt that creeps in when reading my prayer treatment? Ooh, great question. When you're reading your prayer treatment, if you have doubt, stop reading your prayer treatment. You need to write a new treatment. Or two things: write a new treatment, contact a practitioner, have an appointment with a practitioner, because you need to pray about releasing doubt, accepting faith, which is the process of releasing doubt. So the first prayer you have is a prayer of faith, and then the next prayer. But as you're reading your prayer, if you're already doubting it, you've already dismissed it. You're already telling the universe to diminish your demonstration. That's not a good place to be. But I would highly encourage you to get onto the website, contact a practitioner, have a session, FaceTime session, whatever that is, and talk about that so that you can have that doubt removed for you. All right. Oh, hang on. I see my husband pulling up, so you're going to hear dogs bark in about 2 seconds. Next thing. Because of this, I discovered I really do like to cook. I like my husband new insights. Hey, isn't that true? We've been cooking at home. We never cooked at home, ever cooked at home. And oh my gosh, we have been embarking on all sorts of journeys. It's like Martha Stewart has walked into my house and taken over. And we've enjoyed actually having that time together. So I agree that good is coming from this, and good can come from all things in your life. And what I want you to allow yourself to experience right now is an acceptance of how this thing works. How this works is that it's working by means of you. And I'll say this, and it's the repetitive thoughts you have in your head about yourself, the repetitive thoughts you have in your mind about a certain condition or a certain relationship or a certain financial situation, whatever that is, the repetitive thoughts you are having in your mind right now are going to be those that are demonstrating in the future. You're on a mental diet. You're on a mental diet not to explore those things. You're on a mental diet to allow yourself clear thinking, right thinking, clear direction, and the continual process of building your spiritual toolkit to move through this and into a greater expression of life itself when all of this begins to lift and a new life begins to appear. So that's my recommendation for you. Thanks for joining in today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, we are a center that operates on love offerings and donations. And while we offer free classes online, if you are able to donate to the center, we would greatly appreciate it. We've got several things coming up. But there is a donate button, and we please, every little bit helps. And if you're having financial challenges, we totally understand. This is the place to get the spiritual tools to put into your toolkit to manifest good. But if you are continuing experiencing good and have some good that you'd like to share, we could certainly use some help right now. So I'll leave it at that. A couple things coming up. There's a big a meditation tomorrow. Reverend Ruth Ann is doing a meditation tomorrow. We have a big Sunday service planned. We got some really special things happening on Sunday for your Sunday service. And check that out, because next week, every day at 10 o'clock, we've got something special. I know Reverend Charles is working with, I forgot the guy's last name, the guy that he did what is his last name? Jeff, jump in if you can remember his last name. Bogart, Michael Bogart. He is the, Bogart. He is the one who is, teaches the Bible from a metaphysical perspective. That'll be on Monday and on Friday. Charles and I will be playing together on the conversations on Tuesday, vision boarding on Wednesday, and then Eddie Watkins Jr. on Thursday. There's just all sorts of things happening every day at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is the time. One other thing, we've ordered some face coverings that say Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert, Changing Hearts One Life at a Time. We don't know when they were supposed to come in today. That may be running late. But I jump in. The water's still fine, and we are still continuing to do Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert. So have a great day, folks. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Friday. We'll see you tomorrow for meditation at 10 o'clock. Bye now.